on the air. This
Right.
is how arrogant the government is in California. This
Right.
is how bad it is when one party controls any government of either party.
Right.
I was embarrassing them on the air
Right.
for weeks, and still nothing happened
Right.
until the governor himself intervened and said, you know, this is getting embarrassing.
Right.
And of course, it was a bunch of bullshit. None
Right.
of it ever needed to happen.
Right.
It wasn't even the one that bothered me the most. The one that bothered me the most was my garage door. When I moved into this house, it had a 3 garage door. Okay, it doesn't fit 3 cars. I don't know what these cars are.
Right.
It fits 3 motorcycles.
Right.
Okay, like I don't live in a fucking mansion. I don't want to. I live alone, okay? I've got a wonderful house, happy to have it. No one would mistake it for, like, you know, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Okay, so I wanted to change my 3-car garage, wink, wink, to what it should be, a 2-car garage. This took 3 inspections. Inspections?
Right.
I'm just changing my garage. Why do you have to be involved in my life when I'm changing my garage?
Because
if it falls down on my head, that's my fault for doing it with a bad contract.
On a recent episode, Bill Maher sat down with Adam Carolla, and things got intense fast. Adam didn't hold back. He bluntly broke down what he sees as California's one-party system and why he believes it's creating serious problems. Together, they laid out why they think the state is heading in the wrong direction, and they also shared ideas on how to fix the damage they say Democrats have caused. This conversation comes with real sparks, so if you enjoy sharp political talk, hit subscribe and let's jump right in. Don't miss it.
Plan check and all of the above. I had to deal with all of it. And I would always say, look, if you're living in Santa Monica and you have rent control apartment, good. Vote the way you vote. I get it. But buy a piece of land. Get a home, go to the city, try to pull a permit, and then tell me how you feel about this government. Because I think it's too fucking big. And you go, what? We get rent control. Yeah, you get rent control. Go buy a piece of property, try to do a remod, go talk to the city, and then tell me how you feel.
Because you're doing this to your home.
Right, and I've done it.
You were wiped out.
No, I wasn't wiped out. My home is intact in Malibu. Everything around it is burnt.
Bill Maher, Mel Gibson, and Adam Carolla have all pressed on the same painful issue, the heavy bureaucracy around building a home in California. Carolla says that every time he, or anyone else, points out how crazy the permit process has become, the response is always the same. People quickly say, well, we have rent control. But he argues that doesn't actually solve the real problem. Not everyone wants to rent. And for many families, renting isn't a solid long-term plan. Rent control doesn't create new homes, it doesn't speed up construction, and it doesn't help families who want to settle down, buy property, and build roots in their community. Instead, Carolla and other critics believe the endless rules, approvals, and delays are what truly drive prices up and limit supply. They argue that California doesn't lack good intentions, what it suffers from is too much red tape. And until that changes, they believe the housing crisis will only keep getting worse.
My business was doing it to other
Why did your
people's
home
homes.
survive?
God loves me. You should know that.
No, really. Everything around you burned?
I would say 80% of what was around me burned. And
Did you take precautions that others didn't? Did you like
wear a condom?
Wetting the roof?
No, I didn't. I
changed my roof since last year. I have a whole different roof.
I noticed
and I have
it
a
when I
thing
was
that goes in the pool where you
pump it.
You
Yeah.
shoot the pool up on the roof.
No, I did nothing in just complete luck of the draw. Like the Hood, the SS Hood, which was a British ship, sunk. Blown up by the Bismarck in World War II, and 1,800 sailors went into the ground and 6 popped up. Went into the drink.
Bill Maher raises a real question. He wants to know whether California's endless red tape and heavy bureaucracy have actually reduced wildfire damage across the state. After years of new rules, permits, and layers of oversight, you would expect to see clear results, some measurable progress. But the answer, again and again, seems to be no. Entire communities are still displaced. Homes are still destroyed. Wildfires continue to burn. That's where Maher gets frustrated. What's the point of a system built to fix a problem if it keeps failing to deliver results? Instead of protecting people, the bureaucracy often seems to slow down rebuilding, drive up costs, and trap residents in an endless maze of paperwork. Maher isn't against smart regulations or safety standards. He's questioning the inefficiency. His point is simple. When rules keep growing but outcomes stay the same, maybe it's time to ask whether the system itself has become the problem instead of the solution.
Are you fucking nuts? And I realized she didn't know what was going on. Then you talked about your garage door. But the point is you got turned a little bit with your solar shack. And I said it a million times. Live in rent control, fine. Go get your own home and try to pull a permit. You'll start thinking more like me. And you try to get your solar shack permit, and that took 2 years.
A quick note about Jane Fonda appearing on Club Random. Moments like that highlight something important. Many celebrities live in a world that is mostly protected from the daily effects of bureaucracy. They usually aren't the ones waiting months or even years for inspections, permits, and approvals. Their status alone can often smooth over problems that regular Americans have to struggle through. And when it comes to permit fees or compliance costs, those obstacles barely register. If you're earning millions, paying high fees or hiring experts to deal with red tape is just another expense. But for everyday families, that cost can be overwhelming. That gap matters. It shapes how public figures talk about laws and regulations, sometimes without fully understanding how heavy those systems can feel for ordinary people trying to build, rebuild, or simply move forward with their lives. The frustration comes from that disconnect, from the sense that some voices may be far removed from the reality most Americans face.
On the air. This is how arrogant the government is in California. This is how bad it is when one party controls any government of either party.
Right.
I was embarrassing them on the air for weeks, and still nothing happened.
Right.
Until the governor himself intervened and said, you know, this is getting embarrassing.
Right.
And of course, it was a bunch of bullshit. None of it ever needed to happen. It wasn't even the one that bothered me the most. The one that bothered me the most was my garage door. When I moved into this house, it had a...
This is the part that really makes you stop and think. Bill Maher revealed that it took him 2 full years just to get a permit for his roof. 2 years for a roof. Now think about that. If Maher, a nationally known figure with money, influence, and even personal ties to Gavin Newsom, still had to wait that long, what chance does the average Californian have? Most homeowners don't have lawyers on standby. They don't have direct access to the governor. And they can't afford endless delays without feeling real financial pressure. For them, every extra month means higher costs, insurance stress, and constant uncertainty about what comes next. Maher's story unintentionally exposes the deeper issue. The system doesn't just seem slow, it feels fundamentally broken. When even well-connected people struggle to navigate it, bureaucracy stops looking like it's about safety or fairness. Instead, it starts to feel like a wall that holds everyone back.
Garage door. Okay, it doesn't fit 3 cars. I don't know what these cars are. It fits 3 motorcycles.
Right.
Okay, like, I don't live in a fucking mansion. I don't want to. I live alone, okay? I've got a wonderful house, happy to have it. No one would mistake it for, like, you know, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Okay, so I wanted to change my 3-car garage, wink, wink, to what it should be, a 2-car garage. This took 3 inspections. Inspections?
Right.
For I'm just changing my garage. Why do you have to be involved in my life when I'm changing my garage?
Because...
if it falls down on my head, that's my fault for...
To even replace a garage door, Bill Maher had to deal with layers of red tape. Just think about that for a second. This is what full-blown red tape looks like. Rules piled on top of rules almost for their own sake, completely disconnected from common sense. A homeowner shouldn't need a long permit process just to repair or replace a garage door. It's not a full remodel. It's not a public safety crisis. It's not some environmental threat. Yet in California, even simple home repairs can turn into months of paperwork, fees, and inspections. That's why voices like Adam Carolla and Maher keep calling it out. Their point isn't extreme, it's practical. What real harm does swapping out a garage door cause to a home, a neighborhood, or the environment? None. But when small fixes become bureaucratic headaches, the system slows people down, raises costs, and frustrates homeowners who just want to take care of their property. At some point, it becomes clear the system has lost its sense of proportion.
Inauguration. And Trump says, well, we're going to go in and we're going to change the permitting laws. Now, he is obviously a guy who just pulls things out of his ass. I get the impetus to do this. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? He's the guy who sees a problem anywhere and he goes, I can fix that.
Right.
But is there any jurisdiction for the president to override local permitting laws?
I think I don't know about precedent because no one cared and it never existed. And if you're building a log cabin in 1871, there's no court case
Right.
on that. I think he can, because I've heard something about it.
That really shows how bad the bureaucracy has become. Bill Maher even admitted he wished Donald Trump would step in to fix it, and that says a lot. Maher and Trump aren't exactly friends. Sure, they once had dinner together, but that didn't change Maher's political beliefs. He's been clear, no matter who's on the ballot, he still votes Democrat. But his comment reveals something deeper. When a lifelong liberal starts thinking a political rival might actually handle red tape better, it's a sign the system is broken. Maher isn't supporting Trump. He's expressing frustration. His point is that bureaucracy has grown so bloated and unresponsive that people are desperate for anyone willing to take it on. When basic functionality matters more than political philosophy, it's obvious the problem has spiraled out of control.
Metaphor for government and the size of government. When you can't do what you want to do on your land that you own and that you pay taxes on, and you need to ask fucking permission
Right.
from them to do stuff
Right.
on your land,
Exactly.
then we have gone across the Rubicon. We have crossed the Rubicon. And the fact that I bought a warehouse in Glendale, California.
I also agree with Adam Carolla. Something has clearly gone wrong when you still need government approval just to make small changes to a property you paid for yourself. At that point, we've crossed a line. Ownership starts to feel less like a right and more like a conditional privilege, tied to endless regulations and approvals. The whole idea of owning property is that you should have reasonable control over how you use it. But that promise breaks down when even minor updates come with licenses, fees, and months of waiting. Carolla isn't talking about ignoring safety rules or building recklessly. He's talking about common sense and moderation. Replacing a door or making a small upgrade is very different from constructing a high-rise. When the state interferes in every little decision, personal autonomy and responsibility are undermined. If ownership no longer means having control over your own property, that principle has been quietly eroded. And it's a problem everyone should care about, no matter their political party.
And pull a permit. And I went in to the planning commission of the city of Glendale and I said, I want to pull a permit to do some building on my warehouse. And the 25-year-old chick behind the counter goes, what are you going to do with that warehouse? That I bought, by the way. And I said, I'm going to put some cars in there. And she goes, they might let you do that. And I thought, they might let me do that with my property.
It's infuriating.
It's insane, and it's
infuriating.
Huge, and it's a California thing, and unfortunately, it's a blue thing, and it's kind of a left thing.
It is.
And and they're encroaching on everything. It's just step back.
I really don't understand why homeowners can't make simple, harmless improvements to a house they legally own and pay taxes on. It just doesn't make sense. These are minor upgrades, not risky renovations or sloppy construction, yet they somehow require approval from multiple authorities. That's why many of these laws need to be completely repealed. When regulations stop protecting people and start existing mainly to generate fees, delays, and fines, they stop looking like safeguards and start feeling like a system designed to burden everyday Americans. Every permit, inspection, and approval comes with a cost, and those costs add up fast. The result is a process that discourages homeowners from maintaining their own property and punishes responsibility. Clearly, homeowners aren't the ones benefiting. When laws ignore common sense and the public interest and function mostly as revenue machines, the system has lost its way.
Making rules.
I tell this to Gavin every time I talk to him.
Just knock it the fuck off. Just leave people alone.
And he says we're doing it, but I don't see it, to be honest.
Well, also,
he says he's doing it when I confront him with it, but I don't see it.
No, because they're there to make rules. That's why they got into power. They like it.
They like it.
What I want...
That's it. They like it.
I want... You know, my favorite answer from a politician is, I don't know. I'm not in charge. Ask your dad.
Adam Carolla and Bill Maher reached the same conclusion. Suffocating bureaucracy is a problem that hits hardest in Democratic-led states. California stands out, even compared to red states, for its endless permits, inspections, and delays. The system is so complex and intrusive that it drains people's patience and energy, making even simple efforts to improve their property or just live their lives exhausting. Maher didn't hold back when it came to Gavin Newsom. He called him out directly, highlighting the huge gap between Newsom's promises and the reality on the ground. While Newsom talks about cutting red tape and tackling bureaucracy, very little actually changes. Ordinary Californians are still trapped under rules that seem designed more to frustrate than to help. Permits take years, costs keep climbing, and the system keeps failing. The message is clear. Without real action, promises mean nothing, and the bureaucracy keeps malfunctioning. That wraps up today's video. For more content like this, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.